Good team, bad team. Lead your people to go after big challenges, not each other. Written by Sarah Thurber and Blair Miller, Ph.D. Narrated by Dominique Dibbell. To the home team, Cole, Isabel, and Becca. And to our FourSight partners, Gerard Puccio, Greg Sonbacher, and Russ Schoen. You are all proof that life is better on a good team. Before we begin, in this book you'll find everything you need to lead a good team. It's our gift to you, our way to give back after decades of building our own successful companies and careers, equipping teams to think, connect, and solve problems together. We wish you the joy of being part of a good team. Sarah Thurber and Blair Miller. Introduction. Drop your weapons. I first discovered team building was a thing on a blind date. I had just turned 30 and was traveling the world as an independent freelance writer, editor, and designer. My friends, who occasionally described me as the most single person I know, thought it might be time for me to settle down. "You'll love Blair," said my friend who set up the date. "He's tall, smart, and handsome. He has a Master of Science in Creativity and does team building for a living." I was dubious about the career choice, but agreed to go on the basis of tall, smart, and handsome. We went out for Thai food. By the time they cleared the noodle plates, I found myself leaning in, fascinated by Blair's insights into teams. Like any good freelance writer, I dropped into interview mode. "How did you get into team building?" I asked. Blair had been a camp counselor, teacher, drama coach, and outward bound instructor. In graduate school, he had studied how to facilitate groups through complex problems. He rolled it all into a career as a team consultant. "So what happens in one of your team-building workshops?" It was the 1990s, when trust falls and ropes courses were all the rage, and Blair was right on trend. He took teams out of their offices and gave them physical challenges they could overcome only by working together. "Does it help?" I asked. "It does," he said. "People find themselves in a new context, facing new challenges as a team. They start to see each other in a new way." I must have looked skeptical. "I remember one guy," he said, good-naturedly drawing me into a story. He was a Vietnam vet who worked on a high-tech manufacturing team. On the first day of the workshop, I noticed him paying close attention when I read the suggestions for working together. The morning of the last day, he took me aside and confessed, "I've worked with this team for years. This is the first day I've ever come to work without my knife." "A knife? Like a real knife?" I stammered. Blair laughed, delighted to have cracked my professional veneer. "I know, crazy, right? But we're all hardwired for survival." For him, that knife was a symbol of self-protection. He brought it to work every day. He brought a knife to work. For years? What made him stop? "He finally trusted his team," Blair said simply. He had no reason to mistrust them before, but he didn't trust them either. The physical challenges we did together in the workshop showed him he could trust his team, so he left his knife in the car. Team building was getting more interesting by the minute. Clearly, if you knew what you were doing, you could have a big impact on a team in a short time. If you could cause someone to stop carrying a physical weapon, what other emotional and intellectual armor could you get them to drop? As a writer, you can always tell if someone is truly passionate about their subject. Blair practically glowed when he talked about teams. "People walk away from those workshops with new faith in their teams," he said proudly. Then he hesitated. "The problem is that the halo effect eventually wears off. People go back to work and fall into old habits. You can't expect companies to run outdoor team-building workshops every month. I wish you could." "So what will you do?" I asked, a little concerned. "I'm experimenting with a new approach. I've been wondering, is it the trust falls and ropes courses that actually transform teams? Or is it the simple act of solving big challenges together?" He dedicated his graduate studies to finding out. He did research to see what had the big
Sample complete. Ready to continue?